What we need is a kind of a least privilege model. So when a user logs in, a DBA logs in, he or she's only got access to the accounts applicable to what they need to do, as opposed to access across the entire organization. Implementing strong workflows also prevents someone just connecting whenever they want. This really focuses on that kind of insider malicious user. There's a lot of kind of disgruntled employee stories out there where the employee was overlooked for promotion, their friend was fired. What they've done, they've gone home, they've connected through the VPN, and then they've gone about causing havoc because they had standing access to the infrastructure, either because they themselves had a .admin account, a named admin account, or they themselves knew what the privileged accounts were. By putting a workflow in place, it says, if you want to be connecting to this production server with sensitive assets on it, there should be a reason that you're doing it. There should be a valid change you're implementing, a problem you're solving, or an incident you're responding to. There should be a genuine reason that you're doing that. So putting that control puts that preventative measure in place. And then also looking to, as I mentioned before, control and monitor access. Not necessarily just for the internal employees, but this is really a strong point for many of our customers when it comes to third parties, which was obviously a question raised at the end of the panel session, is how do we control the way that third parties gain access and review what they're up to? Well, actually by controlling the mechanisms by the way they connect, maybe not actually giving them the passwords, but giving them a secure connection process, and then actually recording what they're doing, gives you that visibility of what third parties are up to. Because as I say, typically they're using generic accounts as a high rotation within those kind of support teams. So this helps the prevention process. This helps put better controls to help break that cycle. But if attacks are already on the way, or maybe, as the gentleman in the panel mentioned, once if someone bypasses the password management controls you put in place because they're being lazy, or maybe more worryingly because they're actually up to no good. How do I identify this? And this is where the analytics comes into play that I mentioned. So what you see on the screen is actually real-life data we've taken from one of our customers. And each asterisk here represents where an individual, in this case user B, as you can see on the slide, where user B has attained privileged access to perform one function or another. Okay. And the concept is by continually profiling these users, because of course usually IT operators are in shift patterns, they're not using a standard kind of working day. By continually profiling these users, we can start to spot where they behave potentially abnormally. This is a very straightforward example. This is saying along the kind of horizontal axis here, it's the date. Vertical, it's the hours of the day. Each asterisk here plots where they've gained privileged access at some point or another. And then what we can quite easily see is this user has a typical working day pattern, all right, which is nice and straightforward, as I say. This is a simple example just to kind of put the point home. And then what we can see from the data we took, as I say, this is live data, we can see that there actually were two potential anomalies. So rather than us looking into all these actions in between the green lines, we've got a focal point. We've got two potential anomalies where this user was maybe doing something genuine, responding to an incident at ridiculous o'clock in the morning, or actually this user's account was compromised in some way, as we described in the attack process, or maybe actually this user's up to no good. And there's other things such as making sure, as I say, if someone bypasses your controls, we want to coordinate that if there's a log on to the target systems, then actually there was some kind of approved process and validate that. If someone's connecting to the target systems and there's no corresponding event in your control point, then actually, yeah, we want to flag an alert. Or if someone starts connecting from a strange location, usually they operate in the UK, and then you've got them accessing from a strange IP address, again, that's maybe something to look into, because these could be the telltale signs that actually some of your privileged accounts have been compromised. Okay. Last slide is just really to say what this ultimately kind of puts from my perspective is that we really much see a kind of a new security layer within the infrastructure. Perimeter is well known and all the various security controls and monitoring solutions, but we really see that there's a new kind of security layer within the infrastructure, which is the privileged account security. So making sure, because all these solutions sit on top of infrastructure, operating systems, etc., that have privileged accounts, so it's important to take control of these. I think just about up for time.
That's brilliant. So let's thank David both for insightful talk and free stuff.